Time to share a link.
Come on, PlayStation, hurry up. Or, not PlayStation. PlayStation.com, hurry up. Alright, tell me when you're all set.
I am set.
Alright, hello everybody and welcome to round 3 of the UDL F1 League Season 2 Championship here at the Chinese GP. My name, of course, is Mr. Jamage, and I am accompanied by my favorite co-commentator, John.
Well, why thank you, David. Just great to be here.
I'm excited for yet another fantastic race here in the UDL F1 League. If you missed it, we've had 2 rounds already, one in Australia and one in Bahrain, 2 bangers of races, and I very much recommend going back and watching them, but enough talk about that. We can talk about this.
Yeah, we've had some great races, and this is looking to be another great. Very technical track here. A tire killer, as a lot of people would like to call it, but it's sure to make a pretty great race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be an absolutely fantabulous race, I believe. Let's see, full track map. Okay. Who's first on track here? We got Dilsack. He's the first on track, so he will be the one doing our pilot lap. Kudos to Dilsack. You go, buddy. But, yeah, here we are in China. Unlike the real F1 series, we didn't cancel the Chinese GP, so here we are.
Yeah,
on this wonderful circuit.
I do have to say, it is so nice now that they've updated this game to include a full track map. Helps out so much for getting people familiarized with this track.
Yeah, I really do love this full track map feature in the commentary. As now Dilsack comes around the final corner and opens up the DRS to be the first man to put in a flying lap here. Turns 1, 2, and 3 are pretty hard to get right. Very long, sweeping right-hander. You don't really use the brakes much. You just use engine braking going into that very late first apex, and then this left-hand apex, and then this very tricky traction zone here through turn 3, and now through the right-hand kink of turn 5, and then turn 6, the right-hand hairpin. And then now we come through the fastest part of the track here, turns 7 and 8. Very fast S's here. Right-hander now, and then to the left-hand double apex corner of turns 9 and 10. Third gear through here. Very hard to be on the traction there, especially on the exit. If you get on that curb just a little bit wrong, you're going to be in some trouble. Now here through turns 11, 12, and 13, the hardest turns on the track, in my opinion, especially this exit of turn 13. You never really know if the car is going to understeer too wide or not. Looks like Dilsack got it pretty well, bringing it out all the way to that curb. And now it's time to sit back, relax, get you some tea. We're going to be here for a little while as we go down this very long back straight.
Over 200 miles an hour.
Now going all the way down into some take first, some take second through that hairpin, and then this very fast left-hand kink of turn 16 going to the DRS zone now and to the finish line. Dilsack, first driver to put a time on the board. He goes at 132.683.
Very, very fast track here. Over nearly 210 miles an hour through that back straight.
And just to kind of shine some light on it here, we have quite a few drivers on alternate strategies. Looks like almost half the field. as Snipper Pig, Holnos, Racer X, and Breezy, and Bossman as well, all have set laps on mediums or hard compound tires here to start off this session.
This is going to be a very interesting race. A lot of people really taking risks this season with alternate strategies.
Yeah, it's really nice to see though.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it.
Last season was very, very much the top 10, sometimes top 15 were on the same strategy. But it's nice to see the risk because it really plays out well towards the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I 100% believe that these alternate strategies really make things very exciting for us, especially around a track like China. I mean, this track we all know is very hard on tires. So if you can save your tires and be on a little better of a compound here for the start of this race to allow you to maybe pull off that one-stop strategy. So now get that money and run, puts in the new fastest lap of the session, almost 0.6 faster than Dilsack MP2. But he is one of only 4 drivers to have set a time on the soft compound tires. It's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah, especially if you really look at the times that Snipper Pig and Racer X are putting down, they're not much more than a second off of a soft compound lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys on the softs, they're definitely just trying to go for track position here. But I mean, we saw Get That Money and Run do really well last week off of that soft compound strategy. So there might be some merit to it. We don't really know yet. We will see later on in this race to see how it pans out for these drivers.
Last week was a very interesting week as far as strategy goes because he'd Get That Money drove nearly half the race on his softs and managed to only do a one stop, where we thought a lot of those people that were running on the mediums to start with were going to run it a lot later than they actually did. They pit almost the same time as Get That Money on his softs.
Yeah, it was a very interesting strategy to say the least. But as we have a few more drivers putting in some lap times, Rufus F1, a new driver here in that McLaren, put in a P3 time in the Pecan in P4, the first driver on the mediums. And we've got Snipper Pig in P5 on the hards, Honos in P6. Racer X, Zeus, Breezy, and then everybody else. Because I'm too lazy to read the rest of that. Now we got a pink car coming around the final corner now. It is Bossman, and he does not improve on his lap. Going to jump over to Imperial. He improved but did not jump up in any positions.
Lucas coming through the final corner now.
Lucas, the new journeyman, he goes up in a P3 with a 132.706. Good lap from him, puts himself onto the second row of the grid provisionally.
Very interesting as far as how this is going to play out with all these alternate strategies, especially with the pace that those that are on the alternate strategy are actually performing.
Yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. This is a very fun environment watching all of these different strategies unfold, because you don't know what's going to happen. Who could be on pole? You don't know, because those medium tires might be bang on. I mean, we saw last week Snipper Pig got an amazing pole lap on those medium compound tires, but then at the start, they're going to fall like rocks.
It was a very interesting turn of events last race, especially the ending. 2 or 3 corners from the end, a massive spin between the leader and second place caused Snipper Pig to get the lead and win the race.
Yeah, it was an absolutely wild race last week. Like I said, if you guys missed it, you missed a banger, and you really should go back and watch it again. or watch it. And if you've already watched it, go watch it again. It was just a good race. It really was.
It was.
Got a couple of drivers going to start another flying lap here. Only 2 drivers have not set a time yet. That would be Impulse in the Red Bull and Glenn Coco in the Renault, as Impulse does a little bit of a drift session there in the first corner.
Get that money and run coming to the end of another lap. Oops, sorry, that was an out lap. Not notice that.
Looks like Imperial ran nice and close on fuel. He was out of fuel trying to get back to the pit lane. It's always funny to see that. Now Honos goes into the pit lane. Sniffer is starting starting a flying lap now. Racer X coming around to finish a flying lap. Let's see what he does here. He goes up in a P2 on those mediums. He might be 6 tenths back from get that money and run, but that's a strong lap time there from the Alfa Romeo driver.
Zeus very far off pace for that lap. Will not be setting anything.
Got a couple of drivers racing into the hairpin here.
I saw that. Not the most effective way to set quick laps, but
if it fits, it ships. Look, stamp and send it. Impulse goes up into P9 with a 133.235. Pecan coming around to start another flying lap. Let's see. Imran Thunder starting a flying lap as well. And McLaren is Rufus starting a flying lap. Get that money and run is finishing a flying lap now. Let's see if he improves on his time. He does not. That was a cool down lap of some sort.
Shawsome.
This track is
just a little loose.
This track is very interesting, especially in qualifying. You really need to save your tires on your outlap. Save as much as you can. Shawsome improves very slightly on those hard compound tires. You really need to just be very careful and drive really gingerly on your outlap here in China, because the track is really hot and all the fast corners. It's very harsh on the tires.
Yeah, it is. But if you can do it, it has the potential for some great racing.
Oh yeah, I mean this track is every year has been one of the races with the most overtakes in the real life F1 calendar, which sounds very weird, but because of the long back straight and then the pit straight with the DRS zones, it's actually a very good track for overtaking. Just the middle sector is not very fun for that. His Impulse goes up at a P7 from P9.
Glenn Coco starting out his first lap.
Pecan puts on the soft compound tires. It goes to 131.791. So he's going to be looking for that track position like I was talking about earlier. Rufus coming around the final corner. He does not improve. Red Bull goes slightly wide there in the final corner. He was a bit off of the pace there. And Honos is starting a flying lap in that McLaren.
Watching this race brings me back to the good old days of F2 last season. That great race towards the end of the sprint race with Minnesota Wild fan.
Yeah, and I mean in that sprint race, I remember doing having a 3 wide overtake on Hefty Bag and Prix on the back straight. That was the gap open. I went yeet and drove right in between the two of them. I only passed Hefty. I believe Breezy got back past me, but then I passed him going into turn 1.
Very
and
good
then
times.
on with the chase, trying to catch you guys, but they slowed me down just a little too much.
Very good.
One more lap. If I had one more lap, man, you guys were toast. That's all I'm saying.
Very fun though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. F2 was.
Glenn Coco coming
amazing.
through the final corner.
Now let's see if he finally gets a lap on the board. Jumps up to a P14 so far. I was about to say the 2 racing points are in a very disappointing spot on the grid, but Bossman puts in a time of a 132.709 to go up into P6, a little more respectable for the Pink Panthers. All these guys on these alternate tires, other than Racer X, are very far down the grid so far.
Honos with a 132.3 puts him in 3rd place.
Honos makes me eat my words almost immediately on those mediums. Now Racer X and Honos, the only 2 drivers other than Snipper Pig in the top 10 on an alternate tire strategy. At this point, I don't even know if it's really benefiting these drivers unless they can put in a mega lap time on those tires that they're on.
Snipper Pig threw on the mediums.
Yeah, I believe these drivers are going to start putting on mediums instead of the hards. And they're probably going to start running softs as well instead of mediums if they just want to get up on that timing sheet just a little bit further. Breezy goes up at a P4 on the medium compound tires with a 132.420.
Bossman coming into the chicane, or the final hairpin again.
What part about that makes it look like a chicane? I really want to know. So he goes into the pit lane.
You know, in an alternate universe, a hairpin is called a chicane, so...
Oh, yeah? You know what rhymes with chicane?
I have no clue.
Cocaine. And you must have done a lot of it. Alright, Snipper Pig coming around the final corner. Let's see if he improves on his lap. Gets himself up into the top 10 once again. He goes up at a P3, best of the medium runners so far. We've got a Pink Panther coming up behind him. That is Shawsome, but he's starting a lap. We got the 2 Papayas coming through the final corners, but I think they're both going to be going to the pit lane. And Rufus, the first driver on broadcast to hit the pit wall. Kudos to him.
I know that pain.
Dulsac coming around to start another flying lap. 1 minute and 10 seconds left, so this will be his final flying lap. Get that money, and no, that's Impulse starting a flying lap. Imperial starting a flying lap as well. All these drivers. Pecan coming on the final corner now to start his final flying lap, the provisional pole sitter so far for this GP. Breezy and Racer X. Racer X starting a lap. Breezy on a cooldown. Calm before the storm. Here we go. 35 more seconds. So a couple of drivers will be able to make it back, including Lucas in the Williams. Snipper Pig will be able to get one more lap down here, as well as Shawsome and one of the Haas drivers. That would be Zeus. But after them, I don't think anybody else will make it back to the line. I don't even know if Zeus will make it back to the line to be able to start this lap. This is going to be very close for Zeus.
Doesn't look like it.
Shawsome jumps up to P12. Zeus, heartbreaking fashion, does not make it back to the line. So that would be his qualifying session done. First driver to come across the line will be Kill the Birdman into Williams. Let's see what he can put down. He does not improve. Next across the line will be Dulsac in the Toro Rosso. He goes up in a P4 with a 132.323. Next up is the Red Bull of Impulse. He goes up at a P2 himself on the front row provisionally. Now the Imperial coming across the line, and he will not improve. Next to cross the line will be Pecan. Let's see what he can do. He goes over 131.5, ups his provisional pole lap even further. Now here comes Racer X. He improves but does not go up in position. Get that money run. Takes that front row position away from his teammate. Goes to 131.788. And now I get to breathe for a minute. I think almost everybody is done. The last few drivers to complete their laps are on the back straight now. First one up to the line will be Lucas in the Williams. And it looks like there's a Ferrari behind, a Pink Panther, and a Haas. The Haas didn't make it back to the line. That's right. So here comes Lucas now. Let's see if he improves. He does not improve. It looks like it was invalidated.
Yep.
Sniffer Pig does not improve. And I have no clue where the Pink Mobile went. We will see what Bossman or Shawson put in. But the first driver to not be named Sniffer Pig on pole position here in China will be Pecan and the Haas with a 131.501. Get that money and run and impulse. Very strong qualifying session there for the Red Bull Racing team. And P2 and 3 Sniffer Pig, the first driver on the medium compound tires with a 132.294, around 8/10 off of Pecan's pole lap, and that's pretty comparable pace there. Dilsack in P5, Honos P6, Breezy in P7, Racer X in P8 alongside of his teammate on that fourth row of the grid. On the fifth row would be Lucas and Bossman, Rufus, Shawsome, Zeus, Imran Thunder, and yeah, I didn't scroll down. That's a rip. So yeah, well, we got images. Nice.
Very good qualifying session.
Another close qualifying session. I really like it. I like all this. This is great. And then after Imran Thunder was Glenn Coco, Kill the Birdman, and Imperial 757, rounding out the field. So, I mean, through the top 10 with all the different tire strategies, 1.2 seconds was the gap between P1 and P10. I mean, man,
really
just
not
unfair.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, with all the alternate strategies here, it's very interesting to see how this race turns out. We'll see what kind of a strategy these soft tire runners put down. I don't know if they'll go for the two-stop like some drivers did last week. That didn't really seem to work out very well. The one-stop last week was the better strategy. Get that money and run was, I believe, the only driver to actually pull off the one-stop after starting on the softs in the top 10. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe those top three these soft tires last a little longer than one lap.
It's going to be difficult to make those soft tires last.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a toughie, you know. Can't really do much about it. So,
Yes.
So I mean, you just gotta hope for the best. And you know, for our sake, I hope everybody's tires fall off and it's like a skating rink. But you know, that's just me. Slightly biased to having an entertaining race to watch. Whew.
We got anybody that wants an interview, or?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Okay.
Happy birthday to me. Alright, interview. Question mark. Exclamation point.
Alright.
League. Next week, we will be off for the F1 League, but it will be the second and final preseason race for the WEC League here in the UDL United Drivers League. We will be at Barcelona for our first First swing at things in an endurance race, 2.5 hours of Barcelona. And, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Yes, it will. Very, very much different being in the seat of the top class in an endurance race over commentating an F1 race.
Yeah, I mean, me and John, we are factory Audi drivers in the WEC League for the LMP1H. We get to drive everybody's favorite and the fastest tractor in the world. It's just straight fact. And we raced at Monza a few weeks back in January for the first preseason race. But we got to have us a nice little endurance race before it all kicks off. Next month, the second weekend of the month will be, I believe, the 8th. The 8th of March will be the first race of the season at COTA. Hey, John. Johnny.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But that is correct, and that race will be commentated by Pecan and our good friend, the Mobius Strip. So that will be on the UDL official channel. Be sure to check that out. Same with the last preseason race will also be streamed next weekend.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of point of views for that race. You need about 15 monitors because we'll have the official streams, we'll have racing streams like myself. There's quite a few drivers that do stream their POV of every race, and it's always fun, to go back and watch the different battles from different perspectives.
Yes, especially watching the GT cars as the prototypes are passing through the field. It is very interesting perspective.
Sometimes it gets slightly hairy for those GTE drivers and for the LMP1 drivers, especially on skinny circuits like Barcelona. It's going to be very interesting trying to pass those GTEs.
Yes, it will be. Nothing more fun, though.
The next Formula One race will be in 2 weeks' time. On whatever date that is. It will be in Baku on March the 1st. That will be the next United Drivers League Formula One race. And then Monaco will be a doubleheader for the UDL. The first race of the year for the WEC League on March the 8th at COTA, and of course Monaco right beforehand. Some drivers doing double duty will be in it for the long haul on March the 8th.
Going to be very interesting for those drivers that are doing double duty. Those being Snipper Pig, Sinister Owl, who else? Glenn Coco, and I want to say one more, but they are definitely going to be in for a long night. One of the biggest races of the year for F1, and then the season opener of our sprint season. Definitely a long day for them.
Two slightly different tracks as well, Tight street circuit, very fast circuit.
Very different cars as well. Two of them going from F1 down to GTE Pro, and then one going from F1 to LMP2. So very, very different driving strategies there.
Also, I know you guys love us so much. I know, who doesn't like the best streaming duo in esports? But sadly, for those doubleheader days, we will not be commentating. There will be 3 races in this F1 season that sadly we won't be able to commentate for because we will be preparing for those sprint races. The first one will be that Monaco GP, and I'm really sad to miss that one because that's one of my favorite races. And
I am as well.
I think we're also going to be stacked on top of Germany I could be wrong there. Yeah, Germany, and then as well as Italy. Those are going to be the 3 races that we are conflicting, which is sad, but it is what it is. We might have another one towards the end of the season too. I'm not quite sure, but
we do apologize, but it's definitely too much when you're going from an F1 or a commentary position straight to a LMP1 car. But
yeah, I mean, it'd be a little better if we had a couple hours in between, but we've got about 30 minutes to prepare from the F1 race to the WEC race, and we just need more time than that, So, I mean, we would be having the race lobby up 30 minutes before it starts, and it's just not
feasible.
It's not really that practical.
But the lobby is starting up, so we are getting ready to go green at the Chinese Grand Prix.
Chinese. The Chinese Grand Prix. Here we are.
The struggles of not being able to talk while commentating.
Here we are in the Corona GP. Oh, all right. Everybody's joining into the lobby, getting their setups done, trying to figure out what kind of fuel strategy they're going to go for, and then the most important part, figuring out which race strategy they will do. The top 10 have a pretty even split on softs versus mediums. I believe it is 6-4 on the split for softs versus mediums. We will have Pecan get that money run and Impulse at the front of the field on the soft. Snipper Pig splitting those top 4 soft runners and Dulsac MP5 on the softs. Then we'll have the 3 medium tire runners of Honos, Breezy, and Racer X. And then the top 10 will be rounded out by Lucas and Bossman on the softs. After that, it's free reign for whatever strategy you want, and I would not be surprised to see a few hards.
I wouldn't be either, especially with the tire wear on this track. You definitely want to make your tires last as long as physically possible at China.
Yeah, I mean, I believe a hard to medium strategy would be very good for those guys outside of the top 10. Really long first stints always seem to work really well, and then having that pace at the end compared to the guys on those older mediums. As Bossman has disconnected from the session. Very unfortunate for him as we now get started here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the current tires up. And as Bossman has disconnected, that will promote Rufus to P10, but Rufus has any free tire choice, but he still does pick the softs.
Okay. Got our cameras set up.
All right. It's very interesting. So, actually, Dulsac, according to my graphic, is on the wrong compound of tires.
That needs to be looked at. That is a penalty. What is Pecan doing?
Okay.
Pecan just went straight into a wall. That is,
this is
unfortunate.
Very interesting. She now gets put onto the pit straight, so we'll see what's happening here. Very interesting. I think he had a seizure going through the middle sector there. So now Get That Money and Run also has a seizure and pulls off the track. Very confusing. What we got cooking here, boys? And there's been nothing said as of yet, so not quite sure what we got going on.
We will keep you updated.
For right now, it looks like we're racing. I mean, there's no sort of announcement or anything as of yet. So very interesting there from a couple of different drivers. Hopefully you can't get any damage on the on the formation lap. That'd be kind of embarrassing.
He hit that wall pretty hard, so if you can, he definitely has it.
He doesn't have any damage. So that's fortunate for the Haas driver who is on pole position.
Just a quick question. What is this camera angle from Peacon's perspective?
That's a... I'd like to thank our sponsors, Fanatec and United Air Emirates. They are our two sponsors here for the Chinese GP. Still our two sponsors. Might as well just watch the lights go out from here. Alright, here we go. 3 lights on, 4 lights, 5. And the lights are out. And away we go for this Chinese GP. Peacon gets off to a pretty decent start here. Get that money and run. Is looking up the inside in that Red Bull, but thinks better of it. Impulse might be trying to get a peek around the outside. Sniffer Pig, a very good drive, very good start there for him. He might be able to get himself up into P3, but not quite close enough to get through as he gets put back down into P4. So now we go into turn 5.
Oh.
Peacon goes straight off. Not sure there. Get that money and run. Takes over the lead. Leading a Red Bull 1-2 so far. Super Big in P3 and Honos in P4. So we have a little bit of a touch there between Breezy and Lucas. As we also have a racing point spinning into the grass of Shawsome. Shawsome is backwards. And there's just some more collisions happening here. Not sure exactly what just happened. I saw some front wing plate flying around Breezy in the wall. Breezy has left the session. Must be dinner time.
We got a call for a race start.
Looks like we're getting a call for a restart again.
Not sure what happened there.
Well, get that money and run an Impulse. They're going to be hoping for the same end result here at the start.
That was a very interesting turn of events for the race start. Not really sure what to tell you guys there. Yep, we do apologize. This is out of our control as commentary.
Not quite sure either. We're gonna have a little bit of a meeting after this race, I guess.
Yes, we are.
A couple of irritated drivers, understandably.
Yeah, not only that, I can imagine some of the viewers are a little irritated as well.
Yeah,
at the start of the race, but
yeah, There's, I mean, there's a few drivers that are really
Yeah,
quite annoyed.
Jaden, I completely agree with you. I'm not exactly sure why we needed a restart. That was not our call. There will be a discussion about it after the race between the stewards. But yeah. We do apologize for that.
Yeah, I very much apologize for it as a ambassador, one of the ambassadors for this league.
Yeah, we try to make this as fun as possible for all our viewers, but it's a little difficult.
Yeah, we once again we just apologize for any delays here. Just on rain delay, you know, we gotta make this go as long as possible so that we can go straight to the Daytona 500 right after. You know what I mean?
Jaden, we would like to thank you for watching as well, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Lucas, for example, got an excellent start. He started outside of the, I believe, outside of the top 10 or at the bottom of the top 10. He was in P7 or 6 by the end of the first lap.
Yep.
So, very interesting. You're driving trains. Oh, you're a train operator, Jaden? That's pretty cool.
That's really cool, actually. Well,
what kind of a train do you operate? That's a pretty cool job to have. Hey, as long as you're not texting and driving, that's all that matters.
Yeah, we wouldn't want a texting and driving with a 150,000-pound train. Oh, okay. Wow. Nice to see a fellow or a Australian. We have a lot of Australian friends.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool, man.
That's actually really cool, to be honest.
And I denounce Damage as my commentating buddy just for that joke.
Well, give me back my $1 signing bonus then. 10,000-ton trains. Oh yeah.
Well, I'd just like to say it again. Thank you for watching. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to know that we've got a pretty decent outreach here. Very, very nice to see. I think everybody's in the lobby again. I think we had 17 before. We have 17 now. And then 19 including us, you know, the most important ones in the lobby.
Yeah, because we don't have the best driver of the league, Drew, you here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're Spyro.
Oh, Spyro.
Oh, you drive trains? Yo, that's dope.
We did not know that you were Spyro.
So now we are finally getting another session to start. Hopefully we don't have another restart. Fingers crossed.
All right.
Okay, here we go again.
The joke in the chat was quite great, but not gonna say it on stream.
Wow, only dorks call people dorks, bro. Let's be honest. I mean,
it's not that we were surprised you were watching, it's more that we don't really get that much interaction with people. They tend to not talk once we've talked to them, so...
Yeah. Usually we answer the question,
yep,
and then they never say anything again.
So it's just nice knowing we have somebody to actually talk to.
Shout out to Jeff, by the way. I'm sure he's watching. Intersport, I love you, bro.
Yep. Shout out to Jeff.
You're my favorite grandpa. Anyways, we're in here again, reselecting the strategies. Dulsac got off pretty lucky there. Hopefully he noticed that he made a mistake in picking the wrong
there you are,
picking
Jeff.
the wrong strategy. Yep, there's Jeff, the 35-year-old phenom.
Everybody give it up for Jeff.
Yeah, it's almost your bedtime.
Yeah. I agree, Jeff.
It's almost your bedtime, Jeff. I understand. It's almost mine, too.
All right, let's see if we have a terrible camera angle this race start.
All right, so now we are checking the tire choice, and Dulsac did change tires, so kudos to him for noticing that he picked the wrong ones. It looks like everybody is on the correct tires. Rufus still in the McLaren. Very interesting that he did not pick the mediums or the hards. The only driver on the hards is Shawsome. And the Racing Point, everybody else from 13th to 17th is on the mediums. All right. I completely forgot to do this. What's your top three for this race? Very easy to predict since there's so many alternate strategies.
I hope that was laced with a lot of sarcasm because it is not easy to pick at all. I'm gonna say get that run, gets that win today. See what I did there, but then I think Peacon's gonna get a second place finish, and I'm gonna go wild card and say Honos gets third.
Oh, you call that a wild card, bro? All right.
From
here's
six
what I'm
back,
cooking. Here's what I'm cooking here. So, if the soft runners do a two-stop, I think that the winner of the race will be Racer X on the mediums doing a one-stop strategy. P2 will be Pecan and the two-stop strategy, and then P3 will be Shawsome driving through the field on his final medium stint at the closing stages of the race. That's my top three.
All right.
Get ready to see it.
It sounds right. I will say, even though Snipper Pig was not in our top three, he has every chance to win this race. He's our defending champion from last season, and he's also points leader this season. So
we have a couple of cars blinking towards the rear, it looked like. As now we get another wonderful audio bug of all the cars leaving the grid, and then they don't. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5, and the lights are out, and away we go yet again for this Chinese GP. Pecan gets off to a better start this time around. Get that money run, pulls in behind him. Once again, has another peak. Snipper Pig trying to go up the inside. Once again, a couple of drivers going a little bit wide. There were 3 wide going through turn 1. A few drivers on the grass. Now Dulsac falls all the way down, as well as Lucas. Very unfortunate for those two. Snipper Pig and Impulse side by side for P3, and it looks like Snipper might just take the position away from the Red Bull driver. He does. Honos dives it in real deep and makes a little bit of contact there with Breezy, and then the other, or no, that was Rufus. My bad. Rufus dives it on in there and takes a couple of positions there with his elbows out. So great start there from Rufus, going from P11 to P5.
very good start.
Now, Pecan almost has a full second on Get That Money and Run after the second sector. Now we watch these drivers come up to this next section of corners leading up to the back straight. A few drivers looking up the inside. Racing Point challenging somebody up the inside. Not quite sure who that was. I think that was Bossman. As now we watch them go down this nice long back straight. We have a yellow flag
Lucas
somewhere.
backwards.
Lucas spinning out there. We have a pretty hefty battle cooking up here between the Alphas and the McLarens. Rufus going defensive against Breezy now. Breezy looking to his outside, might try to get the switch back here. It looks like it might work out here. Breezy on the outside now for the final corner. They're side by side. A little bit of wheel banging there coming up to the corner. They both go wide as Rufus holds on to P5, but Breezy will have that slipstream coming up into turn 1. Feisty battle already between the Alphas and the McLarens.
Yeah, they are not letting up. Top 3 really close as well. Actually, top 4, I should say.
Yeah, get that money and run. Pulled that second gap that Pecan had at the end of the second sector all the way down to just 4/10 now. So good driving from Get That Money to get back close and up on that diffuser of Pecan, but now he's in that dirty air. So I wouldn't be surprised if he loses a few tenths here through this middle sector. Rufus goes a little bit wide through the S's here, and that's going to compromise his run going down this short straight, coming up to the left-hander, the left-hand 90-degree or 100-degree corner, I guess. It's not really a 90. Now we have Bossman going up the inside of Zeus for P9. Getting that position away, and Breezy going up the inside of Rufus through the right-hander. Great move there from Breezy as he now goes defensive, and he's doing a little bit of a Pagano here on Rufus. Back and forth down that back straight. Now Rufus does finally get the inside line on Breezy, and he might just hold on to it here, and they both go into the gravel. Now that promotes the other two, the other Alpha and McLaren, up into P5 and P6, and doesn't look like Rufus and Breezy are having too much fun with each other currently.
Yeah, I would like to say 1523 on my stream seems to be a Shaw fan. Thank you for watching.
Shawson didn't seem to have the greatest of starts here. He's dropped a couple positions on those hards. Maybe the strategy will come back into his favor later on in this race. But we'll jump back up to the front. Wow. Look at that gap already. 1.8 seconds from Pecan to Get That Money and Run. Snipper Pig only 4/10 behind Get That Money and Run, and Impulse right on Snipper's diffuser. Then a 3-second gap to Racer X. All that battling between the McLarens and the Alphas has really allowed the top 4 to get away pretty quickly.
Those, I feel like those McLarens and Alphas are going to be fighting it out till the end of this race.
Breezy once again going up the inside through the right-hander, but
Rufus
gets
it
a
right
switch
back
on him. Great racing here between these two drivers.
Oh my God!
And now Rufus slams into the right side wall.
That looked
as Honos goes
like
up the inside of Racer X into the hairpin. Racer X tries to get the cutback but doesn't quite get it done, so Honos picks up P5 here for the McLaren team. As
looked
now we have
difficult.
A few drivers with DRS open. The Renault of Glen Coco, a great start so far. He's trying to get himself up in a P9, trying to go up the inside of Bossman through turns 1 and 2, but he'll have the outside for turn 3. It looks like he has got it done though, so he's promoted his Renault up into P9. We'll jump back up towards the front of this field. Snipper in a Red Bull sandwich here. Still, Get That Money and Run. Slowly closing that gap to Pecan down once again. Only 1.5 seconds compared to 1.8 last time around.
I think the stewards are going to have some work cut out for him on that Breezy and Rufus incident.
I agree, but there's no need to really dwell on it. We've got a lot of racing going on here. Glen Coco right on the back of Bossman. This is going to be a great battle here for the next couple of laps. Bossman gets back past Glen Coco in the middle sector, so now Glen's going to have it all to do once again going down this back straight. Going to jump back up towards the front, Get That Money and Run. Goes extremely defensive on Snipper, but Snipper still sends it up the inside. Not quite there, so the Red Bull will hold on to it for now, and the Red Bull is almost in that DRS once again. Going to jump back down to this Glen Coco Bossman fight, and Glen Coco easily breezes past Bossman with that DRS. Racer X and Honos now in a very close vicinity. Racer X looking up the inside, going into turn 1. He might just go for it, not quite close enough. Honos will hold on to that P5 for now, as Bossman comes into the pit lane after only 4 laps on the soft compound tires. That's definitely a 2-stop strategy coming in, as Imran Thunder is off in turn 1, and that Mercedes, not sure what happened. I saw that bright blue dot off in the middle of Narnia. Looks like he doesn't have any damage, so very fortunate for him.
Very
right
close
on the
battle
back
up
get
at the
that
front.
money and run. Get that money and runs. Pulled that gap back to Pecan. Pecan's tires must be going off a little bit more than Get That Money and runs. We'll see if Get That Money can get back into that 1 second threshold. But Pecan, at the very end of that second sector, pulls just enough on him to keep him out of that DRS. So Snipper's going to be very feisty here coming down this back straight. You can tell that Red Bull is really, really alien on those tires.
Snipper in an incredible position right now as far as strategy, being on those mediums.
Yeah, it looks like that medium compound strategy might just be the best one as he flies through and gets P2 here. Now heading the train to catch Pecan. I wouldn't be surprised if the Haas comes into the pit lane. He goes another lap. Very interesting. So do both of the Red Bulls. So both of the Red Bulls continuing on here. Shawsome right on the back of the Williams of Kill the Birdman to come around the final corner, and Dillsack as well, the other soft compound runner, still staying out on the track.
Seems to be only one person that really did that. It should be said that Rufus is currently an AI driver. He did leave, so
yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't affect anything too bad.
Yeah.
Snipper's right on the back of Pecan here. He has so much more pace right now on those fresher medium compound tires compared to those old softs. And I would be very shocked if Snipper didn't get past here on this back straight, and also would be very shocked if these soft runners didn't come in this lap, because they are really struggling out there.
He is right on the diffuser of Pecan.
Great shot here from the helicopter cam, by the way, as now he opens up his DRS in 3, 2, 1. There's the line. He goes to the outside of Pecan, going into the hairpin, as we have a couple of cars battling it out here. Honos trying to go up the inside of Get That Money and Run for P3. Sniffer Pig takes away P1 from Pecan. Get That Money and Run holds on to P3 for now and pits. Pecan stays out. Very interesting. So does Impulse as well. Maybe yellow flag in Sector 3. I think Get That Money and Run hit the wall. Huge for this race. Get That Money and Run hit the pit wall. So that's going to be a big time loss for him. And this 2-stop strategy might just be out the window.
Wow. It's amazing how much drama can just completely change the outlook of a race.
So now, our current running order is Snipper Pig in P1, Pecan in P2, and Honos in P3, Racer X, Impulse, and Breezy, and then Zeus, Glen Coco, Kill the Birdman, and Shawsome. The only drivers to have pit so far are Bossman, Get That Money and Run, and Rufus, who is an AI driver. Which, by the way, they're catching that AI very quickly.
Hopefully nothing bad happens with that AI, but Snipper Pig pulled out a 1.3 second gap already. 1.4 actually.
And Pecan looks like he's a little bit all over the place. He lost the back end going through that right-hander, and Honos will breeze past before opening his DRS. You can really tell the stocks are starting to die.
Yep.
If he goes another lap on these things, they'll blow up. I mean, there's no way that these softs will continue going on. As he goes into the pit lane, Impulse follows him as well. So both of them do actually make the pit entry, so kudos to them.
Dilsak's probably gonna pit this lap as well. Yes, he will.
I see. And there's a Renault
Oh my
on the
god!
front straight as Shawsome has unfortunately hit Glen Coco, who lost it at the exit of the final corner on the pit straight. Shawsome had nowhere to go there, it seems.
For Shawsome.
And the Racing Point driver, who is currently in second in the points, is now out of this race, and we have a safety car. Wow, the luck for Pecan pitting that lap.
Incredible luck.
Oh my god, hold on. What just happened? Imperial is in the wall under safety car. Not quite sure what happened there. I just saw the tail end of it. I think, so the safety car was slowing down to let them pass. Oh, what is going on? The Racing Point's going slowly because of the safety car, and you just got overtaken by a Red Bull.
Interesting. Breezy drive-through penalty as well as Zeus for speeding under safety car.
These guys are trying to go fast to get back into the pit lane for strategy's sake, probably. Pecan's in a very good position here.
Snipper Big goes
Snipper
in.
Pits. Honos pits. Racer X pits. Breezy pits. Zeus will
they have drive-throughs. Get that money and run drive-through penalty as well.
So, wow.
Kill the Birdman.
I don't
Seeming
think
like
they can
everybody's
take drive-throughs. Can they take drive-throughs under safety car? No, they can't. So it looks like the Alphas are now stacked under the safety car. Breezy's going to lose a ton of positions here, but the one beneficiary from all of this is Pecan. Wow. So, I mean, that was huge for him because he was locked basically into a two-stop, and now he's on the same strategy as everybody else.
Everybody, Snipper swapped over to the hards.
Yeah,
basically everybody did. Yeah.
Almost all of the top 10 are on the hards, except for the guys who did pit the lap before the safety car. Some of them went on to the mediums. Pretty unfortunate for drivers like Get That Money and Run, Dilsak, and Impulse, who look like they're going for the two-stop, and now are really going to have to stick to it because they didn't quite get lucky enough with the safety car.
And now we have the best looking and best sounding car on the F1 grid, the safety car out front.
Yep.
That beautiful Mercedes AMG.
Yeah, that is by far the best sounding F1 car for the past since 2014 for sure. It doesn't have as much downforce as the other Mercedes and Ferraris and everything else, but I don't really care. It sounds good.
It sounds incredible.
Can I get an in-car camera with the safety car, please?
That would be very cool. Can we drive the safety car, please?
Yeah, can we just race the safety car? Can we have a safety car league? That'd be really nice. As
we could go at GT Sport and do it.
Yeah. I would assume the safety car will be in this lap, but it might go one more as there's some drivers that still haven't caught up to the train. It looks like it will be going one more lap. So it looks like we'll be restarting at the end of lap 10 maybe.
That may benefit these guys that swapped over to the hards if they can last the 18 laps on the hards.
Yeah, we will see as a few drivers are going in now for their drive-through, but they can't take their drive-through under the safety car. Can they? No, they can't. Their pit crew's just going to come out over and over again. They can't take a drive-through penalty under the safety car.
Massive upset for them.
So now they're losing so much time because as well as being now relegated to the back of the field, they also have to have a drive-through penalty to serve as soon as the race goes green.
Definitely something they should have thought of before making that pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, whenever they came in before and they had a drive-through penalty, it would automatically make them drive through instead of pitting them. And it pit them before, it's going to pit them again. It's very interesting calls there from the Haas and Alpha teams, respectively. I mean, I'm assuming whoever was second in line there saw the one in front do it, and we're like, oh, I guess it's going to work. I'll do it too. So, very
difficult
unlucky.
to say, but definitely not a great strategy call on their part.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be losing a lot of track position and potential points here. They're going to have a serious drive through the field. And Zeus also is now on mediums. Maybe it was a strategic change for the Haas driver, but Breezy still on some hards. I will say, though, they are one lap on the under safety car fresher than the front runners' tires. So,
that being said, is that one lap really going to get them, 13 positions, though?
It looks like the safety car might be going another lap because there hasn't been... Oh, safety car's in this lap. Okay. So the Ferrari slowing right down out front, waiting for that safety car to go straight on. Kill the Birdman, 5-second time penalty for a collision there. Is now Sniffer Pig stopping there on the exit of the final corner. And gets a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Honos. That's huge. Racer X and Pecan side by side going into turn one. Pecan looking a little bit feisty here off of this restart on these cold tires, and he gets it done. So Pecan promotes himself back up into P3 already in this race. And Racer X down into P4 after the safety car restart. Impulse going to be trying to get past all these drivers on these hards to try to make his strategy work. Kill the Birdman misses his... Actually, he didn't miss the breaking point at all. Beautiful dive there from Kill the Birdman. We'll see if he'll be able to hold on to it. Not quite going to be able to hold on to it around the outside through these S's. But pretty good on the brakes there from the Williams driver.
Very impressive dive. Just watched that replay throughout the stream, and very impressive.
Locked out the brakes a little bit, but he got it slowed down. That was a really good move from him. Just didn't quite get it to stick. So now we have Imran Thunder and Dulsac side by side here. It looks like Dulsac actually went a little deep there and went off into the grass. So now he'll be falling down. All those drivers really are just driving around the outside of him with more momentum. Now they come flying down this back straight. See what we got going on up front. Get the money and run and Kill the Birdman side by side. Racer X and Impulse are side by side. As Get That Money and Run takes a position or keeps the position on Kill the Birdman, and now Kill the Birdman's under attack from Imran Thunder, but Imran backs out of it.
Very close racing.
Absolutely. Is now a little bit of a look there from Bossman going into turn one onto that Mercedes, but just pulls right back in line. But now he'll have a late lunge up the inside on the Mercedes, and Imran didn't see it coming, and Bossman gets the move done. Zeus as well might just take advantage of this opportunity. So he now has the inside line for this next corner, and it looks like he might just get it done in that Haas. So if a comeback drive is brewing up for Zeus and Breezy, it's brewing up. We'll see how these drivers continue on with their race.
Breezy looking at that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of contact.
Kill the Birdman spins out of a pretty strong P7 there in the Williams. Very unfortunate for him.
Looked like
a very unlucky driver so far this season. It looks like the Mercedes of Imran Thunder misses braking zone. I believe he got on the grass in the braking zone and went wide, so he drops all the way down into P11. Doesn't look like there's any changes of possession going to happen at the front of the field. Zeus right on the back of Bossman going into the hairpin, but he holds form for now. Waiting for that DRS to be reactivated once again.
I have a report from Shawsome. He would like a race start, but he's joking.
As now, get that money and run. Zeus and Breezy all in the pit lane to serve their drive-through penalties. So they're going to be falling down like rocks here in this race.
Racer X, your choice of Racer X being on the podium, definitely looking very possible.
I'm telling you, bro, I'm a wizard. I mean, yours for Hono's on the podium's looking pretty good, too. We just need a certain Ferrari to cough, cough. Well, actually, he has a 5-second penalty over his head. So he has to push like hell to get that gap out to 5 seconds if he wants any chance of being on the podium.
If anyone can do it.
The gap, I mean, the gaps right now would put him in P5 post 5-second penalty.
All he needs is for these drivers behind him to start battling, which they seem pretty racy, so.
Oh, they're definitely going to be racing each other. But currently they're just a little too spread out for anything to happen, as well as the guys in the midfield. These guys that came in and did their drive-through penalties really need to work together here. If they start battling each other, they'll have zero chance of even getting points here in this race. So now the top 5 still holding form here. Great to see a lot of cars here in one shot as a Renault there of Glen Coco goes out of shot for a second and comes back on.
Just as you say something.
So now we have Pecan right in the back of the McLaren of Honos here. Honos slowly pulled in just a little bit of that gap to Snipper, around 3/10 that lap. Zeus and Breezy battling it out for pride. Here Zeus getting past the hard tire runner of Breezy. They're still side by side though. But that's the only side by side battle going on right now. I'll watch it. Breezy takes a very unconventional line there through the hairpin. That will slow him down for the exit, but he'll hold on to it. Maybe Breezy with a little bit of an understeer there through the S section, but it looks like he'll hold on to it. Now I'll go back up to the DRS train at the front.
Awesome. I'm counting this as an automatic P3.
As it looks like they all hold form, so for this lap at least, on the back straight. I would assume the same thing for those drive-through runners. Honos with the fastest lap of the race so far. He clawed that gap down from 2.2 seconds to now 1.7 in the span of 1.5 laps. So he's really pushing here to try to get back up to Snipper Pig. If only he knew Snipper had a penalty, he wouldn't quite be pushing so hard.
He may know it does come up, but he also knows those guys behind him are really looking for that podium as well. So,
and I mean, this is going to be a very fun race to watch here towards the end. Out of the guys in contention here at the front for good points, Impulse is the only one on a different strategy here. He's on the mediums and not the hards, so we'll see how his race plays out. He might be pitting later on in this race and trying to drive through the field at the very end. Now Honos around 2 seconds behind Sniffer Pig out front. Pecan dropped a couple of tenths there to Honos on that lap. Racer X right behind him. And the DRS train once again.
They're staying very spread out, surprisingly.
Yeah, these drivers are probably going to be settling in here. Dilsack having a little bit of a peak on into the hairpin, but not nearly close enough to get the dive. Bossman missing the apex just a little bit there. Snipper Pig puts in the fastest lap of the race, and Racer X takes it away. So these guys are really pushing here out front.
It's just in, my left eye is very itchy. Not sure why.
If you scratch it with a nail, you won't be able to for very long. Gotta get that money and run. Zeus and Breezy all battling out here. Wow, this is some great racing from these guys. Just having a little bit of fun here outside of the points. They are really trying to go hard, and they actually have some chance at some point here. The Renault of Glen Coco right in front of them. So they'll be battling for a couple of points here at the end of this race. Imperial gets overtaken by the whole lot of them in the start of Sector 2. That's a angry beehive right there. I mean, these two drivers are like, they're probably pushing just as hard as the leaders. They're rocking it. Jump back up to the front. Snipper Pig still holding strong out front. Honos, Race, and Impulse, the same top five we've had for the last couple of laps that I've went over it. Dulsac right on the back of Bossman once again, who will be going for it this time around into the hairpin. The Toro Rosso down the inside, the Racing Point trying to hold on to it. Clean driving there from Dulsac, and now he'll have to hold on to it around the outside of Bossman as he backs out of it. And Bossman, great defending there to hold on to his P6 for Racing Point.
Oh, up front. They're getting a little racy now. Pecan going for
right
a
on
move.
The back of Honos here. And if they battle, Snipper Pig's going to just run away with it. So they have to be smart here and just kind of hold position. Pecan misses his braking point just a little bit there, goes wide. And so allow Racer X to be close to alongside, but he'll stay in line here for now. The Beehive is now swarming Glen Coco. Jesus. Look at this. They're 3 wide coming through turn 3. This is never going to work. Glen Coco and Breezy get connected. And they both now...
oh, no, that was Glen Coco.
Yeah, Glen Coco with some damage. Unfortunate for him. The Beehive got the better of him. The Angry Hornet's Nest fell from the tree. This is now... all the front runners are on the back straight once again. Super Pig pulled a couple of tenths on Honos that lap due to Pecan trying to get a little bit racy there going into turns 1, 2, and 3. Pecan's actually out of the DRS of Honos here, which is pretty big for him. That means Racer X will be right on the back of him here going into turn 1 as well as Impulse. All three of them take the IndyCar line. As now Pecan going defensive here, going into turn 1. Racer X trying to go around the outside at turn 1. Very hard move to get done. Honos goes wide, so this is for P2. They're 3 wide. Wow. So now Honos mistake and now drops all the way down to 5. Huge mistake from him. And now the gap to P2 from Snipper is 3.2 seconds. So that gap's increasing little by little as this race goes on.
And they don't look like they're letting up in the slightest.
So that Racer X pick on the podium is looking pretty good, I must say. Imran Thunder and Dulsac racing it out here. Looks like Imran got past Dulsac there with a good move down the inside. Glen Coco and Zeus side by side here in the first sector. Zeus gets the move done. So now the second through fifth train, I guess is the better way to put it, is still training. Is now Racer X will be in that DRS of Pecan. Impulse right behind in that Red Bull, and Honos has it all to do once again. But looks like Racer X is just saving his ERS deployment here. Saving as much as he can save. Because he's only at 30% ERS deployment, so he's really going to want to save it up. Pecan has very little ERS. at his disposal. They're both saving it here. Racer X, though, pops it up in overtake mode for just a second, but
the
not quite
difference
enough.
between them and Snipper Pig's ERS is crazy. Snipper Pig sitting at 71% ERS deployment.
Yeah, Snipper Pig's in a very good position here. At this stage of the race, it's only 9 laps left in this GP. We'll see how these medium guys get on here. I wonder how long those tires will last. I mean, Impulse doesn't seem to be fading from those hard tire runners at this point in time.
Does not seem to be gaining either, which is curious.
He's probably just saving them, to be honest, because he knows that if he tries to push, they're not going to last. So if he just saves them and holds position for a little while and then decides to get a little bit racy at the end of the race, it might be a good decision. I say that as he gains just a little bit there on Racer X through the middle sector.
And then loses a lot of it.
Yeah, Racer X and Pecan both in that 5th ERS deployment there going down the back straight. Pecan wants to hold this position here, and he throws it up into 5 once again. So Pecan in hot lap mode here, burning a ton of his ERS. And Racer X all that time is just going to be saving it down this front straight. Pecan drained all of his there. So did Impulse as well. Both of them drained it all the way down.
That's a part of the F1 cars that we don't really talk about that much, is how important it is to really get a good ERS strategy.
Yeah, I mean, saving up your ERS here is a little harder to do than at a track like Brazil, just because Brazil is a lot smaller. It's a lot slower through the infield section, but here there's a lot of fast corners where ERS can really help you quite a lot in getting lap time. 0 ERS deployment, or even at 2, if your setting is at 2 compared to at 5 just through one sector, it's around 6 to 7 tenths slower than if you're on overtake deployment mode.
Yep.
So it's very powerful to have all of the ERS at your disposal, and Racer X has his all the way turned up here, coming through this right-hander. Pecan as well. They both have it on overtake mode. Holno's trying to catch up to the back of the rest of these drivers in this top 4, but they all hold position for now once again. And that gap to Snipper Pig is staying pretty firm, so Snipper, bar any sort of mistake. Now, bar any sort of mistake, Snipper will be on for the victory without any penalties, but I'm going to jump over to distance to the leader. At the moment, with the gaps we have, he will be relegated to P4 with his 5-second time penalty.
A lot can happen in 7 laps, though.
Absolutely.
And do keep in mind with it, you know, everybody on the stream, the finishing order is not necessarily the order of the points. There can be appeals to penalties and penalties given, so.
Yep. So currently, the biggest gain here so far is Kill the Birdman. Even with a spin, he's gained 7 positions so far in this race, from starting P16 on the grid, now up into P9 for that Williams team. As well, Snipper Pig starting from P4 on the grid up into P1 now, and Racer X started P8, holds the fastest lap of the race so far, and is now in P3.
Racer X has had a very great race.
Absolutely. He's had a really good drive here, and power rankings are really going to reflect it this week around. I know we were check for penalties.
I know we were talking earlier about this, but the Snipper Pig, just the luck is always on his side. It's pretty incredible how every time he seems to get the most lucky.
Alright, so here are the penalties for the guys in the top spots. Pecan has a 5-second time penalty, Honos has a 5-second time penalty, and Snipper has a 5-second time penalty.
That would put Racer X in
first. So if Racer X knows this, I don't know if he knows it or not, but if Racer X knows this, cruise around.
Would that be his first win?
No, second win. He won Russia last year.
Oh, okay.
As now the leaders are finally going to be catching up to that AI McLaren, it seems, that has been roaming around. The safety car saved us from an AI incident the first time around, but this time around it seems like it will happen as this race comes to a close.
Not exactly the most ideal. It's a little bit better situation for Snipper Pig, but being in a pack with Pecan, Racer X, Impulse, and Honos, it's going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, and Pecan is starting to lose time on Snipper here. Just from his ERS strategy, burning it all on the straights and not having any for the twisty bits. And that's really showing in his lap times here.
Go on board and see how this pass goes. This AI driver.
Dulsac is into the pit lane, so he's going to be going in for, I assume, a set of softs to finish out this race. And he does. He goes on to some softs. No, just watch the AI here. It's a few second gaps. So it might be the back straight, which might be the best place for them to catch him. Hopefully not through this long right-hander. It looks like it'll be just on the back straight where they pass the AI, which is a good thing. Pecan will actually have DRS off of this AI here, I believe. Let's see. No, he doesn't. Okay, so that is a rule that got taken out at some point. Used to, in Formula 1, the drivers would have DRS on the lapped cars.
I think he did pass it before the DRS deployment zone, though.
The detection zone, not the deployment zone.
Yeah, okay.
The detection zone is in the corner before.
Oh, okay.
He could have also not been within 1 second, I'm not sure. We don't have gaps for that sort of thing. There's a huge gap now from the guys up front and Bossman and P6, so I mean, Impulse is probably just gonna beat around here on those old mediums and just try to hold on to P4 or P5. I mean, I know it's gonna be tough for him, and hopefully the tire doesn't blow out, but he has a huge gap here to work with to hold on to P5 if Ponos does get by.
Now, did Impulse have a penalty, or?
Dang it, I forgot. Let's see. I think he did. Hold on. Let's see, incidents. Scroll down. It was Pecan, Honos, and Snipper all have 5-second time penalties.
Okay.
And then as well, Glen Coco has a 5-second time penalty.
So that would really not be too bad with his penalty. That would relegate him down to third. Even if he didn't have any sort of mistakes.
Racer X and Pecan fighting now. Racer X getting a little bit impatient. Pecan. Racer X clearly does not know that Snipper has a time penalty or Pecan. So he's trying to brute force his way into P2, and
Snipper sets the fastest lap.
Yeah, as long as this gap stays around 3.5 seconds, without the penalties getting taken away, Racer X is the winner. And Impulse is in P2 or 3. What is it, P3? Yeah, P3 currently. If he gains 8 tenths on Snipper, he'll be on the podium. Or he'll be in P2, I mean. So, I mean, Impulse and Racer X basically have locked down podiums here.
Dilsack takes the fastest lap with a 134.
Yeah, he's on the sauce now. Get that money and run. Might be going for that fastest lap attempt, but he's going to have to kill the Birdman if he wants to get that extra point. So now Racer X right on the back of Pecan once again. Pecan's tires 1 lap older, and it seems to start showing that wear. But, I mean, the one who's really holding strong here is Impulse on those mediums. Great job from him, just holding on. And those tires not dying on him. So now Racer X goes up the inside of Pecan. Once again, goes a little bit deep, so Pecan will get that cutback and will hold on to the position. And as they battle, it'll hurt him more and more. Honos now on the outside going into the final corner of this Red Bull, and he will take the position away from Impulse. The more they battle, Snipper might just be able to get 5 seconds on the field here.
It stayed steady around that 3.5 second mark, but all he needs is really one mistake from the field behind him.
Yeah, I mean, if they battle through the middle sector at all, Snipper's going to have this race win in the bag.
He's gaining time as it is, up to 3.8 seconds.
Imran Thunder and Bossman battling it out here through turns 1, 2, and 3, now through turn 4. And Imran Thunder takes P6 away from Bossman for that Mercedes team. Zeus on his glory run gets past the Imperial. Jump back up to the front.
Snipper pulling out all the stops to try and just get as much time as possible.
And I mean, the thing is I'm going to go back to leader. He only needs half a second on Racer X to hold the win. Because Pecan has a penalty, so that gap doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's Racer X that matters. So, I mean, 6 tenths? That's the difference. Racer X really just needs to let Pecan try to push and catch Snipper. If Pecan starts gaining on Snipper, Racer X will just follow him. So we have a yellow flag in Sector 3. Not quite sure what that was for. It goes back green. We have Imran Thunder and Bossman. Pretty close proximity in the hairpin, but not close enough for any sort of racing.
The thing is, though, I don't really know if Racer X knows that, and if he starts battling to try and get that second place.
Yeah, I don't think Racer X knows that these drivers around him have penalties. Everybody in the top 4 other than him has a 5-second time penalty. As Breezy has left the session, very curiously. So he's currently in P8 and had a chance at getting P7 and P6, but he has left. Get that money and run on a glory run himself. Puts in the fastest time of the race, and it has a 6.66 at the end, so that just puts the nail in the coffin for his race. So now Racer X right on the back of Pecan here once again. He's got pace on both of these drivers in front of him. He gained around half a second on Snipper that lap alone, and he gained quite a bit on Pecan.
Here's the worrying part. Him trying to pass is really what's gonna...
As they now head to the final lap of the race, Snipper Pig coming across the line now to start up lap 28 of the GP.
Racer X goes
wide. Racer X goes wide. Huge mistake from him. That might just cost him the race victory. Honos gets by for a provisional P3. So now Racer X is going to have to gain a whole second in one lap on Snipper Pig.
Again, that luck playing in the Snipper Pig's favor.
Absolutely, and poor Racer X, as soon as he sees +5 for all 3 of the drivers in front of him, he's going to be screaming inside of that. Because as soon as he sees it, he'll know that was his win. And Thunder's in the turns 1 and 2. Bossman gets back into P6.
That's amazing. That it's so disappointing for Racer X knowing that he had that.
Yep. But the thing is they don't have all the information we have. And I didn't know, the only person I saw to get a penalty was Snipper. So, I mean, I wouldn't know that Pecan or Hornos had a penalty if I didn't look in the race director. Looks like Racer X might be getting P3 away from Hornos here. Terrible camera angle here. Can't see anything. So now Racer X looking up the inside of the McLaren on this final lap, final attempt at trying to get something done, as Racer X will hold on here. Snipper Pig, 5-second time penalty. Pecan, 5-second time penalty. That'll bring Racer X up in a P2. Impulse, great job from him to hold on to those mediums and finish up P4, staying within 5 seconds of Hornos.
Very
so
impressive.
Hornos gets
21 laps
down to P5.
on the mediums.
Great driving from Impulse to hold on to those tires and save his race, really. Bossman comes around in P6.
After
Airman Thunder, P7.
After Impulse
P8.
Retires from F1, he might have a career in endurance racing.
It's now Kill the Birdman looking up the inside of Get That Money and Run. This race for 2 points is not over yet, but it looks like it might just be now. Get That Money and Run on those softs. Gets up into P9. Kill the Birdman comes across the line in P10. And now Zeus, Glen Coco, the Imperial are the only drivers left to finish here. Breezy falling down the standings like a rock. He didn't finish the race. So he just lost so many points because he left and retired. He just lost around probably at least a point or two. If
really
not
not worth it.
Just to miss 2 laps. Very interesting. As Snipper Pig is your race winner here for the second week in a row in that Ferrari Racer X. Comes home MP2 for Alpha. Hey, my prediction was pretty good for Racer X on the podium, and then Pecan rounding out the podium in P3. Impulse, great drive from him to hold on to P4 and to get P4 on those very old medium compound tires. And Honos in P5, Bossman in P6, Imran Thunder in P7, Dilsack P8. Breezy was P9 whenever the race ended, but because he retired from the session, he lost those 2 points.
Tough break for Breezy.
We'll see how that pans out in the points championship, but man, that's rough for him. So once again here, man, look at all those 5-second time penalties. Snipper Pig gets the win. Racer X in P2, Pecan in P3, Impulse 4th place for Red Bull. Great drive from him once again. Honos in P5, Bossman, a good drive from him to go from 10th to P6. Imran Thunder even better from 7th, finishing 7th from P14. Dilsack in P8, Get That Money and Run P9, and Kill the Birdman gets the last point in P10. Zeus, Glen Coco, and the Imperial, the last finishers, with Breezy and Rufus 1 lap down, and Shawsome and Lucas not finishing. Very exciting race there.
Yeah, very. A lot of drama.
And once again, UDL F1 League delivers yet another banger here in China for the Corona Grand Prix. My name has, of course, been Mr. Damage.
And I am Jonathan. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
See you guys in 2 weeks.
Good night, everyone.